Before we begin, a quick note. The opinions and analysis shared on Truth Seekers are our own interpretations of published research and should not be used as medical, financial, or professional advice. Always consult qualified professionals for decisions affecting your health or well-being.
And with that out of the way, welcome to Truth Seekers. I'm Bill Morrison.
And I'm Alex Barrett. Today is February 16th, 2026, and we're talking about, does red meat really age your brain?
Let's get to the truth.
Right, so apparently I've been aging my brain an extra 1.6 years every time I have a bacon sandwich. That's what CNN wants me to believe anyway.
Yeah, this one's been everywhere. Eating one serving of processed red meat daily increases dementia risk by 14 to 20% and causes brain aging.
And I get where people are panicking. Dementia is terrifying. If there's something you can do to prevent it, you'd change your behavior immediately.
Especially with that specificity, right? 1.6 years of brain aging. That number makes it feel scientific.
Which is exactly why I wanted to look at this one. When I was working at the Telegraph, this is the kind of story that would land with a press release screaming brain aging in all caps. And you'd open the actual study and think, hang on, that's not quite what they found, is it?
Okay, so let me tell you what they actually did. Because honestly, when I first saw this study, I was kind of impressed. This came out in Neurology in February 2025 out of Harvard. They followed 133,771 people for up to 43 years.
That's massive.
Right? Like, that's a genuinely impressive cohort study. The scale of it is remarkable.
Okay, but hang on. How were they measuring what people ate?
Food frequency questionnaire.
Oh, brilliant.
What?
Bill, that's self reported data. They're asking people to remember what they ate.
Well, yeah, but with 133,000 people over 43 years, you're going to smooth out a lot of the noise.
Are you? Are you really?
I mean, statistically speaking, individual measurement error becomes less significant with larger sample sizes.
But it's not random error, is it? It's systematic. People underreport foods they think are unhealthy. They can't accurately estimate portion sizes, and they're relying on memory from months or years ago.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, you're right. If everyone's misreporting in the same direction, more people doesn't fix that.
Thank you.
No, you're right. I was getting distracted by the impressiveness of the cohort size.
It is impressive. I'm not saying it isn't. 43 years is incredible. But if the data going in is dodgy,
Right. Okay. So let me tell you what they found, even with that limitation. People who ate at least a quarter serving of processed red meat per day had about 13 to 15% higher risk of dementia compared to people eating less than a tenth of a serving.
wait, a quarter serving? That's what, like one slice of bacon?
Yeah, roughly 21 grams.
So we're asking people to accurately recall whether they ate one slice of bacon versus two slices over the course of years.
When you put it that way, it does sound absurd.
Because it is absurd.
Okay, but let's set that aside for a second. Let's say the data is perfect. What I want to know is, what's this brain aging number actually measuring? Because when I read 1.6 years of brain aging, I'm expecting brain scans, imaging, something structural.
Right, because that's what the headline implies. It sounds like they measured actual deterioration.
So I went looking for the MRI data, the imaging protocols.
And
There isn't any.
wait, what?
No brain scans, no imaging at all.
So how did they get brain aging?
They used cognitive test scores. phone interviews testing memory, verbal function, processing speed. Then they built a statistical model that says, based on your test scores, your brain performs like someone who is X years older.
So it's a calculation.
It's a calculation.
It's not actual aging, it's a mathematical prediction based on how you performed on a test,
Correct.
on a phone interview.
Yes.
That's not nothing, but it's not what the headline suggests at all. Your test scores could be lower because of depression, poor sleep, you had a bad day.
Right. It's not proof that your brain tissue has actually aged faster.
That's a massive distinction that completely disappears in the headline. The headline makes it sound like they opened people's skulls and measured damage.
And they didn't measure biomarkers either. No tau proteins, no amyloid, no actual markers of neurodegeneration. Just test performance converted into a number.
Huh, okay, so that's the brain aging part debunked. But what about the dementia risk itself? Is there actually a connection?
Here's where we get into the classic problem. This is observational. They're watching what people choose to eat and seeing what happens.
Right, because you can't randomly assign half the people to eat processed meat for 43 years.
Exactly. So, what you end up with is an association. People who ate more processed meat had higher dementia rates. But that doesn't tell you if the meat caused it.
Because people who eat a lot of processed meat might be systematically different in other ways.
Yes, and the study found this. People eating more processed meat were more likely to smoke, more likely to have diabetes and hypertension, less likely to exercise.
So any one of those things could explain the dementia risk.
Right, this is confounding. They tried to adjust for some of these factors, but you can't adjust for things you don't measure. Sleep quality, stress levels, overall diet quality beyond just the meat, cognitive engagement, social connection.
And all things that are probably different between someone eating bacon every day versus someone who's avoiding processed meat entirely. That person's probably also doing yoga, seeing their doctor regularly, eating whole foods.
The healthy user bias.
Right, you're comparing two completely different lifestyles.
And actually, wait, let me find this. There was a systematic review. Hold on, I want to get this right.
Okay.
29 studies on meat consumption and cognitive function, and the majority, 21 out of 29 studies, found no significant association.
Hang on. So the broader literature mostly doesn't support this link?
Correct. And when they pooled all the data in a meta analysis, no significant difference in meat consumption between people with cognitive disorders and people without.
So this one study is actually an outlier.
It's certainly not consistent with the broader evidence.
That's actually quite important context that I haven't seen in any of the coverage.
And there's another detail. The study found this association with processed red meat, bacon, hot dogs, deli meats, but unprocessed red meat, no association with dementia at all.
Wait, so a steak or ground beef showed no effect?
According to this study, correct.
That's a huge distinction. If it's specifically processed meat, you're talking about something that also has high sodium, preservatives, sometimes added sugars, often consumed with refined carbs.
It's not just meat.
Right. This is reminding me of stories I'd see about red meat and health. And the study would be measuring people eating fast food burgers with fries and soda, then concluding red meat is bad. But you've not isolated the meat, you've measured junk food.
That's the fundamental problem with observational nutrition studies. You can't isolate one food when people's entire dietary patterns cluster together. And actually, I'm realizing I'm doing the thing where I focus too much on the statistics and miss the bigger picture.
What do you mean?
Like, I got excited about the 133,000 person cohort, but you immediately caught that the measurement method undermines that. The numbers looked impressive, but the data quality is questionable.
Well, that's why we do this together.
Yeah.
So, where does this leave people who are genuinely worried about dementia? Because that's who I'm thinking about. Someone's mum reads this headline and is now terrified of her breakfast.
Okay, so first, if you're eating unprocessed red meat, this study doesn't suggest a dementia risk.
Right.
Second, if you're eating some processed meat occasionally, but you're exercising, staying socially engaged, eating mostly whole foods, managing your health, you're probably fine.
Because those things matter more.
Right. The real risk factors for dementia are cardiovascular disease, physical inactivity, social isolation, low cognitive engagement, poor overall diet quality. Fixating on eliminating one specific food misses the forest for the trees.
And this is where headlines do real damage. Because someone reads processed meat causes brain aging, decides to cut out all meat, but they're still sedentary and eating rubbish otherwise.
They've focused on the wrong thing.
And they're anxious about it, which doesn't help either.
The stress of worrying about every food choice probably isn't great for your brain.
Right. So the practical takeaway is not never eat processed meat, it's focus on overall patterns.
Exactly. If your diet is mostly whole foods, you're physically active, you're engaged with people and ideas, you're managing cardiovascular risk factors, those are the things with strong evidence. Whether you have a sandwich with deli meat once in a while is not the determining factor.
Which is much less exciting than bacon ages your brain, but it's actually what the evidence supports.
And the researchers themselves acknowledged in the study that observational research can't prove causation. They said it explicitly.
Of course they did.
But that nuance gets completely lost by the time it becomes a headline.
Because association found in large observational study with significant methodological limitations doesn't get clicks. Your breakfast is aging your brain does.
Is that frustrating from your side, coming from media?
Incredibly frustrating because the researchers are being appropriately cautious, but the translation into public messaging removes all the caveats. And then people don't trust health news anymore. They see this headline, panic, change their behavior. Then 6 months from now, there's a different study saying something else. And they think, well, scientists can't make up their minds. But it's not the scientists, it's how we're communicating their work.
And in this case, if people actually read the study, the message would be much more measured.
Right. It would be there's an association we found in this specific population using self reported data. It might be explained by confounding factors. More research needed.
But brain aging of 1.6 years is neither reasonable nor useful.
No. So, bottom line for people listening?
This study found an association, not causation. The brain aging was a calculation from test scores, not actual brain scans. Most of the scientific literature doesn't support the link. Unprocessed meat showed no effect. If you want to protect your brain, focus on exercise, social engagement, overall diet quality, cardiovascular health, not eliminating individual foods based on one observational study.
And maybe, just maybe, read past the headline before you panic.
Yeah,
Good?
good.
Right, that's all for today's dive into the data. Just remember, everything we've discussed is our interpretation of published research and shouldn't replace professional medical advice.
Absolutely. If you're dealing with health or mental concerns, talk to your doctor, not just us data nerds on a podcast.
I'm Alex Barrett,
And I'm Bill Morrison
and we'll see you next time.
on Truth Seekers.
Until then, question everything.
But verify with data.